Good morning, traders. This is a live trade recap. I took one trade this morning. I'm going to show you what I was trading and why. And as always, I start with Weeble's screener that is on my customized page. I've used the active screener, the top gainers, and the quotes widget. And then you can look over here directly on my plan. Let me get to that area where it shows you how I pick the stocks right here. Sorry about that. So look for the stocks that are running that day. You could read through this and you could see how I pick the stocks. Now we'll go over to the video. So CLOV met that criteria. It was the #1 traded stock. And right now, this is point A and point B is hidden up somewhere here. And you can see now it's going into consolidation. So instead of just kind of a well-defined point C, it's going into consolidation. So whenever that happens, I still get in when a 1-minute candle makes a new high, but then my stop loss is the low of the consolidation instead of the previous candle. Now these other stocks, GOED and BBIG, they both broke the ABCD pattern because here's A, B, and then C comes down and ends up below point A. Same thing down here on BBIG, and I'll show you that again in my plan where it says I can't take a trade. If point C drops below point A by even as much as 1 cent or a wick, then I can't take a trade until a new high is established. So let's take a look at the little graphic here. So if this is point A, here's point B. I'm looking for C to come down and stay above point A, and then as soon as a 1-minute candle makes a new high, then I get in and hopefully the price goes higher. It doesn't necessarily have to, that happens, but that's the plan. And if it comes down below point A, then I can't take a trade unless it comes all the way back up, breaks out over the previous high, showing that it's strong again and that it has a lot of buyers. Then I can look for a trade. So let's see what happened. So these two right now I can't trade. Eventually I put a line showing that I have to wait till they make a new high. And CLOV did break out of 1-minute candle, or made a new high of a 1-minute candle back here. Actually did it on this candle and I missed it, but I saw the level that I wanted to get in was 1745. So as soon as it got up to that level again, I hit my hotkeys to buy and got in there, and it didn't come down below where my stop would have been. So that was a totally legit entry. It would have been the exact same trade if I would have gotten in on this candle. So that's my entry, and then you'll see me move my stop loss up to just below the consolidation area. So that way, you know, if it breaks down below the consolidation area, then I consider it a failed trade. And then just like before, I'll need to see, actually what could have happened is I could have entered on a, well, let's just see what happens here. So 1681 is the stop loss. Then you're going to see me use my 2-hour calculator to calculate the profit target. So 1750 is the entry, 1681. Stop loss target is 1888. So then I'll bring my target down to the appropriate level, 1888. And this is really looks good from this point because 1888 is below the previous high. So that increases the chances of the price hitting that level. But it, you know, must stay above this stop loss, of course. And what happens a few seconds later, I get stopped out. And then just like before on these other stocks, if the stock starts to trade below that point A, then I can no longer take, you know, the next 1-minute candle that makes a new high, because now the stock is looking weak and I have to wait until the price gets above this 1892 level. And all this has to happen before 10 a.m. because that's my cutoff for trading. I am only allowed, according to my plan, to trade between 9:30 and 10 a.m. There's a bunch of reasons for that, but you have to figure out which time works best for you and stick to it, because if you stay in longer than, you know, let's say you allow yourself to trade for the first hour or the first hour and a half or whatever it may be, if you stay in longer, then something's really wrong, because obviously what you wanted to see happen did not happen in that time period. So why are you hanging around? Are you just hoping you get lucky and something takes off? What that does is allows you to make a lot of emotional decisions and get into weaker setups and take bad trades. And yes, maybe sometimes you'll get lucky, but it's just not a good habit to get into. You should just have a strict plan and strict rules and follow them every day. Otherwise, you don't know if what you're doing really works or not. So all right, so let's just keep looking here. All of these trades now need to break out above those yellow lines and then pull back before I can take an entry. So that's what I'm waiting for right now. And it was looking like GOED might do that, but it didn't. Now, I did pull up NEXT, which was one of the highest top gainers. Actually, this time I think it was the #1 top gainer on the list. CLOV was kind of trading the #1 spot. But the problem with NEXT is it doesn't meet my float size requirement. Again, if we go back to my plan, I'm going to show you, how I have this set up. So the absolute max for my float size is 110 million shares, unless it's the #1 most active stock, which NEXT was not. It was like number 10 or something. So then the float size could be up to 500 million. So NEXT had a float size of about 120 million. So it doesn't matter that it did this really nice move. Once in a while, things are going to happen that are outside of your plan and your criteria, and you can't just go and change your plan and criteria because of some anomaly that happened this one day in the market. So that's a really dangerous pitfall to watch out for if you're a new trader. Your plan is going to get crazy, vast and diverse if you start looking at every single trade that worked out and saying, okay, well, obviously that worked here. I need to add that to my plan. Well, yeah, it worked once. You need to see it work 100 times before, and I don't mean be successful 100 times, but be profitable 100 times before you can really add it to your plan. So just watch out for that. I just brought that up because, you're going to see that from time to time, especially if you're a new trader. You're going to think, why am I not taking that trade? Look at how well it worked. Yeah, it worked that one time. So again, you have to track your trades, and once you're profitable doing something 100 times, then you could say, okay, that needs to be a part of my plan. All right, so now at this point, as far as my trading's concerned, there's about 5.5 minutes left. I'm just waiting for these stocks to break out through new highs. Again, this one is just up here for pure curiosity, not something I can trade. It does not meet my float size requirement. So I'm just waiting, and obviously GOED and BBIG didn't do anything, and it's a good thing that I didn't take any trades on those because they ended up selling off, but I wouldn't have anyway because they didn't meet my plan or criteria once they broke that point C. Now CLOV, again, is just kind of floating around below that previous high, and there's nothing I can do at this point. All the way to 10 a.m., nothing happens. I think it does eventually break out through that level. We could take a look at that right now. But again, that's past my cutoff, so it doesn't really matter to me. But we can see what happened with CLOV. Let me just go back to my customized layout. Okay, so here it finally broke out through the high at 10:15. Which is past my cutoff, so it doesn't matter to me, but it's just interesting to go back and look and see what happened. And this is why I like to see, and again, I'm not saying this happens every time, but this is why I like to see the stock come back up through its previous high if it broke down below point A, because at this point here, it's looking weak, and what happens most of the time after this is you'll see a little bit of a pullback to the upside, and then things will just keep selling off. So that's exactly what happened here on BBIG. That's what's happening here on GOED. So even today, that's happening more often than not, and CLOV is the exception. But again, if this would have happened during my trading period, I would have taken this trade because this is exactly what I require it to do, is to break out through its previous high. Then here's the first pullback. So my entry would have been for the break of this 1 minute candle here, so we can even put in like a hypothetical trade. Again, this would have had to happen before the 10 a.m. cutoff, and that is why I did not take a trade on this. So this is just for fun here. So that would be my entry, and then my stop loss would be, let's see which candle actually made a new high. This is 1925. So this is the one that made a new high. So let's say I got in at, what was the high here? 1925, yeah, we could say 1928. I guarantee you there would have been a little bit of slippage, maybe even more than that. Let's just do 1930 for the fun of it here. All right, and then the stop loss would have been 1 cent below this candle, so 1889. Let me just put up a line here. Let's make that red to represent the stop loss. All right, so now we could use the 2-hour calculator, and you could download this from the Facebook trading group by the same name, Trading Armor. So here's the entry, 1930, and 1889 is the stop, and that just spits out my profit target, which would be 2012. So I would have had an order up there for that. And you could see it never came down below my stop loss. And then so 2012 is right here. So it looks like it got hit. Did it get hit on this candle? Yeah, it would have been filled at 1021. So, you know, that would have been like a 3-minute trade or so, and we would have gotten our 2R, and we could take a look at the risk and stuff. It was still a low risk trade, 2.12%, so I would have made 4.24% on that trade, and I would have made 82 cents per share because I always trade 2 times the risk. So that would have been, you know, a nice hypothetical trade, but again, had to happen before my cutoff of 10 a.m. You have to have limits and, you know, stick to them. So I think it's somewhere in the plan here. I'm not sure. Yeah, somewhere in here it says that I'm only trading from 9:30 to 10. Yeah, right here. Once you've hit 10 trades or 10 a.m., shut down Webull, let the bracket orders do their thing. Check back between 3:30 and 3:45 if I had any orders open to make sure and close them. So that's it. Yeah, there's tons of places here where it says 9:30 to 10. So you can see that's all just me following my plan, and it doesn't matter what happens before or after that. So let me know if you have any questions about this, and I'll get back to you in the comment section. As always, go into every single trade with a plan, follow your plan, take your stop losses, honor your profit target, and in the long run, you should be green. Take care.